Pretty blitzed.
Counting those calories, man. I'm
chocolate wasted.
Pretty blitzed.
Counting those calories, man.
I'm chocolate wasted.
That's not bad.
Rockin' Rad Dad bods with opinions no one asked for on current events, politics, and all things dad. It's the Phat Dad Podcast with John, Rick, Casey, and Tyler.
How's everybody doing tonight? It's the Phat Dad Podcast, episode number 5. It's been 5 episodes already. I think it's the 5th episode. Anybody keeping track? I think I'm the one that names the title of the show, so I think we're on number 5. So how's everybody doing tonight on this nice Wednesday evening? Casey?
Good.
I think out lately. Came to the gym.
You know it, man. Hiding in my bunker in the basement right now, so the government can't watch me. So things are going well.
Looks like you got a nice backsplash being built behind you.
Yeah. It's a month-long project that's taken 2. So
Did you line it in lead so it's impenetrable?
Hey, man, I will not tell the government what I did to this house. So
operational security.
That's right.
Tyler, looks like you weren't working out. Looks like you came from the gym or the boardroom.
It's correct. That is
correct. Can be a
correct.
workout as well.
Making deals.
Work out there.
How you doing tonight, Tyler?
Not too bad. I mean, it's a beautiful Thursday here in balmy South Dakota.
Yep. Rick?
Doing
I
great.
can't tell if you've been working out or at the boardroom. It looks like neither. So
No, neither place.
Been watching Apocalypse Now.
Yep.
So yeah, I just had a little employee get together after the first time in about a year. Some of these people I haven't seen. Everybody's been working from home. Sometimes some of them I haven't seen for maybe twice in the whole past year. So it was good to catch up with everybody, have a few drinks, and it was really nice. It's time to be done with COVID. I think we can all agree on that. So get everybody back in the offices and start living like human beings are supposed to start living again. So, yep. So we always like to start out the show with some dad talk. So anybody have any great moments in Phat Dad the last couple of weeks they'd like to share?
Absolutely. I'll start again, guys.
I love when Casey starts. I love when he takes the bull.
I feel like you guys just
Casey,
throw me.
Get him.
You guys just throw me under the bus, and fend off the people trying to steal my wallet. Anyways, I've really noticed here lately, especially friends of mine who have young kids, myself included, my daughter, is not even 18 months old yet. I've noticed kids in fear, young kids in fear, and maybe I'm more alert to it now that I'm a father, but they are in fear of new things, everything new person walks by, cry, new person, or they see something in the sky or a loud noise maybe that they're not used to. They just start crying. They want their parents, want to be held, maybe coddled more. And I think I've struggled trying to coin this, a terminology that I can't quite nail in my head, but it has everything to do with this virus, and it affects the social impacts of my daughter in particular that I see, and even of friends of mine, their kids, and those social interactions that are happening on a day-to-day basis. And I think as a society we're going backwards, and I think there's some real fear mongering going on that is contributing drastically to the behavior of our children socially. So I don't know I don't know if you guys have noticed this. I don't even know what to really even call it. You can't really call it a COVID baby or anything like that, but it's one of those things that I'm trying to deal with and help my daughter overcome different situations. And the exact situation was, I have construction in my house. I got my daughter home, picked her up from daycare, brought her home, and he walked by and she just started bawling. That's it. I mean, guys, we're not talking like your regular, like 2-second cry. I mean, just wailed, tears and everything, like stranger in the house, stranger danger. It was pretty, almost like she was kind of convulsing, like it was a bad deal. And I just, I'm struggling on trying to find ways to overcome this and still fall into so-called protocols that maybe society thinks that we should have right now because of this virus.
Yeah, I can speak to that too. I mean, obviously, Casey, we've got two kids that are very close in age, and we joke around. My wife and I, we call it COVID baby, our youngest son. And even like he doesn't even. What's really sad is like the relationships even with grandparents and things like that, the ones that they haven't been able to see or bond with. It's a sad deal, and you're right. Like, man, we as things are starting to open back up, you go places. We've tried to go eat out a couple of times, and oh man, he's afraid of people. He's just not used to being around anyone outside of kind of our tight knit circle. It's a crazy deal, and we talk about it all the time. What are the long term effects of that? What's that going to be? Kids are resilient. Hopefully, we bounce right out of it. But man, these are some formidable years, and in a time frame. I don't know. I worry about it as a father. Like, what will this be? What kind of socialization, traumas did we cause? And I don't know.
I'm glad. I'm glad it's not just me that he doesn't like Tyler. I really thought it was just me and the new bald head. Like,
your bald head does not help, John. Your bald head does not help.
Yeah. No. The other thing is the mask. Look at the mask. They've been their whole life that they can remember or even have been a part of. People have been wearing masks. They can't read people's facial expressions. How does a stranger come up to you somewhere and, kids read emotions so well, even at a year and a half. They don't know if a person's smiling at them and mad at them. That they're missing that whole facial recognition and expression, and they don't have it. So I think they'll bounce out of it. I really think for your guys too. I hope this is all behind us and that they'll be able to quickly recover. But there is that fear, and that they are going to be a little bit affected their whole life. But I think it's going to be up to you guys too to push their boundaries with them to get them through that too. To get them out of their comfort zone, but still, make sure you're not really freaking the heck out of them. But just keep on pushing that and don't let that become a thing. But Rick, what do you got?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I think kids are pretty resilient. So hopefully they'll bounce back. You just got to make sure you don't keep them in that bubble just because they're scared now, because then they'll never learn.
Yeah. And they'll feed off of you guys too.
You guys
Old man Rick.
condoning my actions of not holding my daughter while strangers are walking in my house. I'm telling my wife I got the okay from you boys,
Yeah.
and that we can move forward now in our household. Okay.
You can't
Old
trust
man Rick with the advice.
Yeah.
Old man
Yeah.
Rick with the advice for us.
If you can't trust the guy that looks like that, who can you trust? That's what I always like to say. So no, I think a lot of, it's just not us with young kids too. It's all ages. So I think it was a really good topic. Anybody else have any dad stories? Anything else? I got a quick one. My daughter Brinley popped on real quick, 4-year-old. She was at preschool this week and got a call from the daycare provider. Said that you always wonder, it's like, oh, she's sick, she threw up or something. Well, this time it was they were racing around tables and she ran into the side of a table and had a pretty good sized cut on the side of her eye. And I think you guys need to come look at it to see if you think you need to take her in to get stitches. So it's one of those things. I've never had that happen before. It wasn't a major thing. Other people have gone through way worse traumatic stuff than that, but it's the first time that I've ever, knowing about a 7-minute drive into town, that you're wondering what you're going to see or come across and deal with. So first time I've ever had that happen. But yeah, just your heart just really starts racing and that sort of thing. So luckily they didn't have to do stitches. She's got a big black eye. If you're just joining now, you can rewind and see her on the front. She looks like a prize fighter. My wife had a hoodie, a sweatshirt on her for her, and I said, you better put your hood up so I can take some pictures. She looks like a boxer that just came out of the ring. She didn't win a couple $1 million, unfortunately, but that's what it reminded me right away. Little Rocky black eye.
When you sent the picture right away, that's what I was wondering if there was some sort of preschool boxing class that I wasn't aware of. My
wife did send out a few Snapchats that said to people, it was just a picture of her and it said, you should see the other kid. So I thought that was pretty awesome. So no, I just never had that, that moment where you don't have control and you can't see what's going on and you're not sure what you're going to come into. But our preschool ladies, I know they felt terrible, but they're awesome, taking care of her. She, from the whole time through. And I'm going to write a couple of thank yous just to those teachers, just for taking care of her. I think sometimes as society and as people, we go off the deep end on somebody. So I'm going to try to do the 180 degree difference and write them thank yous and said, thanks for taking care of her. I know things happen. And, she was calm the whole time and all that. So that's my little story. Anybody else? You got any other kids stories for the night?
I mean, how can we top that, John? How can we top your MMA daughter's debut? I mean, how can we top that?
Yeah. Table 1, Brinley 0 is what it is. So the other thing I'd like to bring up is we had a situation as we were leaving the Layton house the other evening. My girls love to play with Tyler's boys. Ages line up pretty similarly. So they love going over there or having them over. So we're leaving out the Layton's front door and his boys come, wait, before you go, they got to give hugs to my girls. And so, they exchanged hugs and maybe the comment was made about, well, maybe this is, whatever. And maybe someday they'll get married. And the first thing I do, I look at Tyler and say, if your son's planning on marrying my daughters, there's going to be some money exchange going involved. What's the word, Tyler? What's the word?
Well, you for some reason thought that I was going to pay you money for that.
Yes, you have to pay me
had to
money.
go through what a dowry was, and we had to explain to you that no, John, you're going to have to come up with some cows or some goats or something, so we can make this official.
Yeah, he tried to tell me that it's the bride's supposed to pay the groom. Rick, do you think that's true?
That is correct.
Casey, what do you think about in this
historically
world
speaking?
Culture? Yes.
Historically speaking,
yes,
that is true, and albeit completely wrong and probably completely sexist. The guy should have to pay. The father of the groom should have to pay.
Yes,
something.
Especially if
it's Tyler. If we could just make a note there. If it's Tyler, if it's a Layton, yes.
Yeah. As 3 girls' dads for sure, Tyler. You were going to be the ones paying us money, so just
I
deal
feel
with it.
like we're obviously in a position or a time of transition when it comes to gender stereotypes and traditions. But this is one that we really need to stand strong on. Like if there's a hill to die on, it's dowries, and the father of the bride needs to pay those. That's a hill to die on.
Well, don't I already have to pay for the weddings? Isn't that
Yes,
kind
you
of
need
a?
to do that too, John.
So I got to pay for the weddings and pay.
Yes. Yep. I mean, if you're nice,
not the
we'll
reception.
chip
I
in for the
think
reception.
nowadays, modern era woke culture. I think the groom side pays for the rehearsal dinner stuff. People still do that or whatever. So, man,
We probably can do that.
be
We
one
probably
hell of a
do that.
rehearsal
Pay
dinner.
at least half.
Yes.
Tyler will be too cheap for an open bar though, so I'll have to still pay for that. You know that.
Oh yeah, there's definitely gonna be open bar.
And you're not paying
not
for
well
it.
drinks, John. We're going top shelf.
Yeah. No, we'll pay for 2 kegs. That's what Tyler will do, and you get the rest. I'll get the first 2 kegs. You got everything
Yeah,
else.
that's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. So save up. I mean, that's really what we're talking about here.
I think I recommend both of you retaining lawyers. I think maybe an agent.
Probably cheaper. So, all right. Well, we have a new bit that Tyler is going to start, and I think it's going to be our new bit starting out. To stop talking about the dad stuff and move on to politics. And that is his new episode. It's going to be called Chewing the Fat, served up potluck style. And so I'm going to start that if I can, because, I am the worst actual IT technical guy that we have. You guys see that? We good to go?
Yeah, that looks good.
See, look at me go tonight, fellas. That was a smooth transition. So, Tyler, we still got to find some music for you. But
all right.
So it's Tyler's segment.
That is literally your job.
It's literally my job. And I didn't get, I started this about 5:30 this morning. Got about an hour and a half to work on it, and then I came home late from that thing tonight. So yeah, so sorry. But this is Tyler's Chewing the Fat, Pat. Chewing the Fat, served up potluck style.
You could at least had you could have hummed a tune, something to do this transition. I mean, that is just a cold transition. But all right, welcome to Chewing the Fat. We've got some topics we want to cover tonight. The first one, our Congress has graced us with a $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill. Within that bill, we some of us will be getting $1,400 stimulus checks, expanded the child tax credit for a year. There's $20 billion for COVID vaccine manufacturing. Part of this bill, also $350 billion in state, local, and tribal government relief. Rick, how's this taste to you?
Having some conversations about this earlier in the week too, and I'm just having a hard time getting worked up about this. I'm just so, it just seems so business as usual. I mean, I think we need to definitely talk about it, make sure people understand that this is business as usual for either party. But I'm getting fatigued by all this just spending and pork and special interests here and there, that it's wearing on me. Honestly,
there is definitely a lot of pork on this potluck. Casey, what say you?
Yeah, this is definitely the high school cafeteria Salisbury steak bill
Take a second
for
helping.
sure. Nobody's eating it all. Nobody's lapping up that gravy except the privileged. This is obviously when you have 20 billion actually going towards COVID. There's about 400 billion going towards people who are affected by it. The rest of it goes to, I don't know, museums, cities. Just more abuse, and they tout it on the name of it on COVID relief on one of the smallest portions of this entire bill to basically fund every other garbage government program, strengthening unions, all sorts of stuff, guys. This bill is just a giant loaded lard barrel of crap.
So in a nutshell there, I think Rick is saying, he's tasting this. He's going, it's all right. It's more the same, maybe a little bland. Casey, I think, is spitting that out or moving right past it. So, John, let's see what is our next mystery dish.
Well, I've never, since it's pork fat's no good. Beef fat's good. So if it was beef fat, we'd be all about it. Pork fat's terrible. So $20 million to forgive minority loan or farmers that are minorities forgiving in debt. And not only forgiving them debt, paying them, I believe, is it 120% back of the money that they have borrowed?
That's correct.
So asinine to me. And I saw one farmer put it, we have a hard enough time, but we take out our own loans to pay those loans back. Now I have to pay money out to pay somebody else's loan back as well. And I think that's just absurd. And I just, no, not having it. We can't do that kind of stuff. We can't start picking winners and losers based on race. I've heard the term reparations and all that kind of stuff, and we can't do that kind of stuff. And that's just one of the things in the bill, but terrible, all around terrible.
Fat Dads, you heard it here first. John hates minority farmers.
Yeah, exactly what I said.
I think I've got this thing down. All right, next slide for us, John. Next topic.
No, well, you didn't warn me. All right, we're still all right.
There we go. Crisis order. Is there one? About on average, we're seeing about 565 unaccompanied minors are crossing our southern border a day right now. Biden came out just the other day, says don't come yet. Data points to us, the U.S. having a record year of crossings, significant increase over the past several. Obviously, one of the first things that President Biden did when he came into office is he rolled back all of Trump's policies on those. We have record numbers. Matter of fact, we're overflowing of minors in detention centers. And yeah, I mean, how's this one taste? Let's start with Casey.
This is terrible, guys. This is terrible. 70,
He's
almost
this one out too. We can't make this man happy.
Nearly 70% of Americans, in about every poll that you see, supports border security, okay, and border integrity. It's terrible what they're doing. They're going to open up more detention centers. Just so you know, liberal people, that's building cages for children.
The cages are already built, Casey. So
yeah,
I feel like
but they're opening up
missing
new facilities that came out this week. Anyways, detention centers, Tyler. Also, what you find in this, as bad as just 565 kids coming across the border, thousands more, and this hurts poor people the most. Those are the jobs that are being taken right away. This helps people that are already struggling finding a job to make ends meet. It's going to make them struggle even more. So Texas kind of said to hell with that, and they've activated their National Guard to help on the border. But it's an uphill battle for those people. So,
John,
my thoughts.
Is this a crisis?
Pass.
Ooh.
Can I do that? Is that a thing? I was going to see if I could even.
I suppose, Rick.
No. I'll talk.
Oh, now you want to weigh in. Make up your mind.
That was just a test. No. So now we're shipping the male juveniles to Dallas to their community convention center or something. 3,000. If this isn't a crisis, why are we moving kids like that away from the border into the more of the center of the country? Keep moving them north. After Dallas is full, we're gonna go to Oklahoma City. We're gonna go to Tulsa. What are we gonna do next? This is the Biden campaign had to know something like this was coming. They knew their rhetoric would cause this to happen, and I'm trying to figure out if they wanted it to happen, if they were naive that it was going to happen, and what their angle was. So no, this is bad. You cannot have a country without closed borders, without protected borders. We still have the gates and the fences around the Capitol building. So those people are protected, but us American people, we are not.
Well, let's hear from the more jolly and the Mueller brother, the one with the salt and pepper beard. Rick, obviously, it's a lot of children, a lot of unaccompanied minors. but also kids and families crossing the border here. Is this a humanitarian crisis? As a country, should we be doing more? Should we be letting these people in?
It's absolutely a crisis, and it's, like John said, the rhetoric from Biden definitely is making it worse. Softened up on it, so of course that's a green light to come across. But this has been a crisis for a long time, and we've had Congresses and presidencies controlled by both sides, and they refuse to do anything permanent, come up with any sort of comprehensive plan. They've been kicking us down the road. In my opinion, they don't want to solve it, because this is definitely a good electing campaigning point that they can go both directions. So yeah, it's a crisis. It's terrible. It's happening, but it's an accountability problem that we have with our leaders for probably 2 decades or more.
Boom. Next topic, John. Let's see what's in that next crock pot. All right. So, unfortunately, we had another mass shooting in this country. It just absolutely tragic, obviously. I think it brings a question to the forefront. And obviously, there's several gun laws that have just passed the Congress, and the Senate needs to take a look at them. But what do the fat dads think? Do we need more gun control laws to curb the violence? John, what do you think?
Now, can I use my pass and not be first? Why do I get the hard ones?
No, you got to go.
Yeah, I think the problem is that some of the stuff that was passed, there's some good stuff in there, trying to track guns better on where they're sold to. Some of the gun show stuff, some of the private sales stuff. I think some of that stuff is good. The problem is, I'm worried about where you start and where you stop. If you let them start doing some gun laws, does that give them the green light to all of a sudden start pushing more and more and more through? So founding fathers wanted us to have a Second Amendment for a reason. I don't care if it was muskets, tanks, or whatever. As the government has better technology, the people need the better technology as well. So I'm a big Second Amendment guy, but I do think there are small tweaks that can be made, but I'm worried of where the small tweaks turn into bigger tweaks.
Let's talk to Mueller brother number 2 once again. Rick, how's this taste to you?
Some of these, background check enhancements, extending that a little bit, I'm not that concerned about that. But I think gun control as a whole, this is one of the issues that I think is very important. I think these are the things that we need to spend time and energy on, protecting our Second Amendment rights. That's why the spending bills and those kind of things, they're bad. Yeah. But I think this is really the heart of the matter. I think if we let these erode too much, that's when we're just completely lost. So I'm okay with some of the background checks. I don't see that as being a big problem. But and then as far as it goes to the mass shootings, these background checks, they don't solve these mass shootings, because most of the time these guns are bought legally. There's nothing that we would have been able to do to stop these people from buying guns. It's an unfortunate thing. I hate when I see it, but I think having the right to bear arms is a key thing that we need to hold on to.
Fat Dad from Iowa, have we found a dish that you want to take a couple of helpings from?
This is a regurgitated turd. A couple key points I want to get across. First off, my heart goes out to those people in Georgia who were affected by 8 dead, that mass shooting. Apparently there's some racial implications that go on behind it. That person deserves to die, whoever did that. Absolutely. There's no excuse. Secondly, I disagree pretty much with everything John and Rick had said. Those people inside that spa should have been armed. You will not stop crazy people from committing heinous crimes against other people. It can't be done. Doesn't matter how many psych evaluations you do. People just flip a switch. People need to be prepared. There are people in this world that want to harm other people, and you can't stop that. You can only try to respond effectively and decisively. I think gun law should actually be loosened up quite a bit. And the new gun law that they're passing right now, HR 8, is trying to basically stop all these quote unquote loopholes, from purchasing firearms. And those loopholes are not bad. They never tell you what that loophole really is. But I should be able to give any of my firearms to my neighbor. God forbid she's getting beat by her husband every day, or has somebody stalking her and she feels unprotected. I should be able to give my firearm to that person to protect their life. And they have a right to defend their life. This is the very foundation of what would unite the right. When you come after the Second Amendment, this is one thing that everybody, as fractured as we are, we can get behind. I think you guys are saying tighter, tougher, maybe more thorough background checks and all this and that. Okay, well, and you're worried about when it starts and how far they're going to take it. Or they're going to take it all the way, because you've heard the left say they want to be just like Australia. They want to be just like the UK. And you still see heinous crimes happening in those countries, albeit not always with a firearm. It's with a truck running people over on a bridge. You can't stop that.
We heard it here first. Once again, hot take from the fat dad out of Iowa. The answer to mass shootings is more guns. Next topic.
Oh, I don't know. I think we need to visit this one some more. This is heated. I like this.
So, Casey, you just touched on this, right? We're seeing a slew of violence towards Asian and Pacific Islanders in our country, throughout the United States. In this last mass shooting, Asian women in particular were targeted. Is this further proof? Is this further proof of that America is a racist country? Let's fire right back at Mr. Fat Dad in Iowa.
No, this is not proof that the United States is racist. It has some racist people, and there's few and far between. Like I said, it's a heinous act carried out by a deranged individual. Somebody, I can't fathom what went through their head, right? Do I think this is going to continue to happen to Asians? No, because it's finally starting to get the media attention now that it's happened. But they're still, it's not just Pacific Islanders and Asians. They're still not addressing firearm violence, gun violence in Chicago, on black crime. I mean, where does it, these titles are picked specifically for, there's an agenda behind it, and it's a bad deal. That's all I have to say, really.
John, do you want to grab a spoonful of this?
Yeah, no, not to that first question, but no, you can go back in the Bible, and there was racism and groups not liking other groups, and it's a little bit of human nature to have a little bit of I don't want to say that you hate other groups that aren't like you, but there's been that going on since the time of the Bible. And like Casey said, we are not a racist country. There are racist people out there, and you're never going to stop that. It's been going on forever. We are not a racist country. We have come so far. We have overcome so many barriers in that racism over even the last 30 years that no, we are not a racist country. We are doing
systematic racism in America. Do you think it's a problem?
Well, I agree that I don't think that we're racist. As far as a majority of the people are not racist. There are racist people, unfortunately. It blows my mind that that the reason why some of these people are going out and attacking Asians, just the most ridiculous reasons. It's but I do agree. I don't think we're overall racist. I think there's pockets of it. I think there's certain people. Unfortunately, the person out in Florida or Georgia was just, crazy, nuts, obviously. But yeah, I can't believe that we're defined as a nation by racism.
Can I throw one more thing in, Tyler? Can I go back up for seconds on this one?
Let's give John.
This is a buffet, Tyler.
Yeah. So to add to that, I, for one, am sick of being called a racist because I'm white or because I fit a certain demographic. I am not racist, and I'm sick of hearing it on the media that we are and everything. I am just sick of it. I have friends that are minorities all through growing up. I don't see color. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of being told I'm racist and that we're a racist country, and that's the agenda that we're pushing for everything. I'm just sick of it.
My second spoonful to carry on to John here is that I have a right, and I think everybody in America does too, to be able to even comment on things that where maybe racial implications are made. People saying that I or white people or anybody of any race, doesn't matter, black, brown, doesn't matter, can't comment on it because they've never experienced something, or they've never lived in the manner that culture may have lived, and trying to shut myself down or other people because of our skin color. I think that's wrong too. And I think the more ideas you throw into the pot, the healthier the conversation and dialogue becomes, and people learn better and grow better as a community, and then as a nation. So
there we have it. Let's jump forward here, John. Let's see what else we got.
Okay.
Chewing the fat here once again. The filibuster. It looks like it's on its way out the door. Elizabeth Warren today, speaking of racism, called it a racist policy and says it should be abolished. Let's pick solely on Mr. Rick.
I don't understand how that's a racist policy. That I don't understand. I mean, you can argue procedurally whether it's helpful or harmful to getting things done, but I can't see how it's racist at all. But I'm inclined to agree with our president on his opinion of the filibuster and bringing back the talking filibuster. Let's if people need to block something, they don't want it done, and they want to give their colleagues time to shift the opinion and get votes to go the opposite direction, and then they want to sit up there and talk for hours and hours and days on end, I think go for it. I think that's to me that's the way it was, and I think it's a lot better than just saying, hey, we're just not going to vote on this.
There we go. Rick basically says that just like President Biden should bring back the talking filibuster, just like it was when Joe Biden entered Congress in 1850. What else we got on what else do we got on this smorgasbord?
We go to the next one.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I don't get a comment on that?
No, but we're saving your comments for this particular dish. This is the one the Deaver family recipe we're serving up here. So we know you want to take seconds and thirds. You may take the whole pot. The Washington Post issued a retraction recently in regards to something that Trump had said during the Georgia recount. My question to the fat dads, and again, we'll pick on Mr. Deaver. First off, how big a deal is this? What happened? The media reported that Trump ordered a Georgia election official, her name's Frances Watson, to find the fraud. And if she did, she would become a national hero. This was on all the news. This is quoted in the Washington Post, CNN, ABC, all of your media ran this story. The quotes came from an anonymous source who said they had heard the call, they had the transcripts. But turns out, months later, it never happened. President Trump never said any of that. What he did say, what did happen, what actually happened, is he asked her to scrutinize the ballots and told her that if she did, that he felt that he'd find that there's dishonesty there. He also told her that she had the most important job in the country right now. I would say it's a far cry from find the fraud and become a national hero. But Mr. Deaver, how's this
Yes.
taste to you?
Yeah, so I despise the media pretty much as I despise most politicians. This tastes like starvation is really what it tastes like. It's like going up at the end of the potluck and everybody's taking everything. I mean, there's no deviled eggs, right? You ain't getting no green bean casserole. You know, there is nothing. Yeah, you might get a tea, right?
Not even that uncooked ramen salad.
Yeah, that's not there. It's not there.
Rancid
So
potato salad.
right. So the fact that the Washington Post and all these other news organizations are coming out now too with these apologies on their terrible reporting, they get to retract it months after the fact. What is this? What did this cost us? What did this cost us? Well, not only did it cause an image problem for Trump, not that he didn't have one prior, right? But did it cost the Senate seats? You tell me. Did it cost local election seats? I don't know. You know, Georgia had a double runoff, Senate seats, 2 months after the election. This is bad, and there's no repercussions. Journalists are not getting fired for this. They can say whatever they want. They can be branded blue check mark, you name it. They can say whatever they want. Any type of garbage spewed. So-and-so told them, sources told us, an official once said. It's never anybody ever named. This is slanderous. And honestly, I would take it to the lawyers. Is there a case here? Is this defamation? Is it, can Trump take Bezos' money? Because that's who owns the Washington Post, one of the richest men in America. So it turns out that all these big media corporations that everybody just loves, trusts, and believes, they're essentially BS liars, right? So that's my take on it. And unfortunately, the little news organizations are now having a bigger impact on people, rightfully or not rightfully, than mainstream media.
John, did this affect people reading and hearing this? That hey, Trump says find the fraud, you can become a national hero. Is it too big of a leap to say that this also helped rally people to DC and help spread the belief that there is fraud in the election? Does the media play a part in that? Maybe not as large of a part as what the president has played. But some of this stuff, stories like this led to what what's been dubbed the insurrection. So, what say you on that?
Yeah, it's a part of the puzzle. It's a part of the puzzle, and when the part of the puzzle is somebody being dishonest and lying, that's something that nobody can control. Trump couldn't control these people lying about him, saying this stuff. And if you're being openly dishonest, you need to answer for that. And they won't answer.
Rick, did President Trump get fair media coverage?
Oh, absolutely not. He didn't get fair.
There we go.
He didn't get fair media coverage. I would like to put out a proposal that we stop calling it the mainstream media and call it news entertainment, much like wrestling is called sports entertainment. Well, some of the writing is real, the outcomes are predetermined, and mostly done for drama.
There we have it, folks. The Phat Dads weighing in on some of the main topics that you may have heard about or read about. Some you may have not even heard about because the news media is not talking about it. But that's our segment there around chewing the fat. So I will give it back to our beautiful bald host, John.
Yeah, no, that was fun. Thanks, Tyler, for taking us through that. I kind of like that rapid fire. I don't have as good of points as you guys, but I'll try to do better next time. I probably is a C+ performance, but next time we'll look for a solid B-. So
You know how I
Casey,
knew that you were joking when you said pass? Because
yeah,
you never give up the opportunity to talk.
true. That is true. That is true. Casey, you got
Yeah.
our next story, so
You bet.
we'll give it to the man in Iowa. And
You bet.
what do you got for us tonight?
Yeah, so Tucker Carlson came out and scrutinized the Biden administration and Biden policies that are now involved in the upper brass of our military about their priorities. The military has come out and essentially told everybody that, you know, we are focusing on women inclusion in our military, and that we are redesigning. Actually, they've already made them. They've been in production for over a year now. Suits, pregnancy suits, you know, that women who are pregnant in the military can wear a piece of uniform that actually fits them, right? I think we could all probably get behind that. And changing their hair requirements and caps that they wear. And Tucker just came out and said, hey, you know, this is, our priorities are messed up here. And he got lambasted by our own military. Never before, unprecedented. It's never happened. Has a military come out and attacked a private citizen? I mean, you look at Jane Fonda protesting the Vietnam War. You look at Bernie Sanders and everybody protesting the Iraq War. You know, never once did the military upper brass ever once come out and say, "Hey, you're wrong. You're misguided." We, you know, it was basically a hit job by upper brass in the military, specifically in the Marines. I find it unconscionable that that our military, who's supposed to be apolitical, right? Their job, and Tucker said it on his show, from what I understand, is to fight wars and win, deter people, deter other countries, fight wars and win. That's it. That's our military's job, not to come out and attack a private citizen who pays their wages. You know, obviously they're very proud of Women's History Month because it's only a month long. Apparently, the other 11 months it's not important to the military or anybody else. So
In my household, it is. It's
right,
12 months.
mine too, man.
But
Mine too. Respect
yeah,
my wife
yeah.
all the time, you know.
Yep.
And my mother, my grandmother, and women in the military who serve this great country. You know, I have never done that, and those are some of the things that Tucker was scrutinized for. Is that, oh, the guy who's never served in the military talking about, you know, what our protocols are and everything else. Well, he can. That's the thing, he can, and so can I, and so can everybody else. And for the military upper brass to do that, unprecedented. And now the big question is you know, is our upper brass becoming a political strong arm opponent? Is that something we have to worry about? We always think of them as a neutral. Hey, man, you know, those guys fight wars. Nobody's ever going to fight with them. We're not going to fight our own people, you know, that type of deal. Is it political now? And, you know, and are they going to keep pushing this agenda, this Biden administration agenda going forward? And their priorities are different than before. You know, you read the Secretary of Defense's words about him coming up saying, hey, China, you know, keeping up with China, that's going to be that's our biggest problem. That's the biggest problem we face in our country right now is China. Meanwhile, he also says, my job is to, first and foremost, root out racism and racist practices, you know, out of our military. How can we fight? How can we be combatants in war if we can't, you know, control what's going on within our own ranks? And while I can't get behind that, absolutely, you should root it out and everything else. But I would like to think that our military's job is to deter and win. That's it, right? And whether it be a woman fighting or a man, I don't care. And I don't think most Americans care, because women are combatants as well. They have fought and died in war, and they need to be you know, they're heroes as well. They need to be recognized for those efforts. So, but I don't think our top priorities need to be the proper flight suits and how we wear our hair going forward while our intellectual property is being stolen and we're giving the Chinese access to our power grid. And oh, by the way, China has a stronger navy than we have now. Who would have thought that? Who would have thought that, you know? So there's bigger problems going on than just women in the military. So yeah, that's what's happening.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Casey, there. And yeah. Once again, like Rick said, we shouldn't be worrying and talking about this stuff, like the whole thing with the spending bill and all. There is problems out there. There is things the military needs to be doing, but worrying about and talking about and doing this and is not one of them. You talked about the upper brass. Do you think the upper brass and the lower ranking people in the military think the same way? Or is there now a discord between the people at the Pentagon and the people in the trenches, and the true soldiers?
Good question.
Do you think
the data shows, or I've heard the data, I've never seen it, but the data shows about 20% of the military is probably Democratic, and that's the boots on the ground. The other are they're Democrats. The others are probably more conservative thinking people or Republican, independent, something like that. And I could be wrong on all of that. That could have swung, I don't know, 10 points either way in this last election. I really don't care. Is there a disconnect between them? Yeah, because you're looking at some of the upper brass as being chosen officials from the Senate, right, and from Congress. They're the ones picking these people, picking these nominees from Biden. So yeah, I think there could be a disconnect or something between them.
It's pretty easy too, right, guys? I mean, you can't not be you can't not partake in quote unquote woke agenda in any walk of life, whether it be entertainment, the business world, running a company. And I think it now extends in the military and expect to be promoted and move forward. You have to say the right things. You've got to check the right boxes. And that's going to be the wave of the future, right? That type of thought process is popular right now. So I think that you're going to see more and more people in positions of power, and it's not all bad. I mean, I think the battlefield of the future it does. It has a place for women in it. And I think it's a good thing that whoever wants to serve and put their life in in some cases, their life, their freedom, their liberties on the line. I think we need to have a military that is open and ready and inclusive for all those people. I don't think we're ever going to have the battlefield completely dominated by women or be gender neutral or anything like that. But I think that some of this stuff is a good thing. And sometimes I feel like we're clutching at our, we're wringing our fists and we're just all mad about uniforms and things like that. I think Casey kind of said it right. It's sort of a ridiculous thing. We got lots bigger problems here. Let's let those that want to come in and serve, whether they're male, female, or gender neutral or whatever it may be. Let's find a place for them. Let's utilize their skill sets to the best abilities possible.
But the efforts on that, Tyler, is saying, hey, there's only 15% of our military, some 72,000, 75,000 active members in our military are women, and that's disproportionately wrong, and therefore we need more women. Right now they're finding that up to 65% or 65% of women can't perform up to standards. And it's an article I read, can't perform up to standards, in basic drills. I mean, at the end of the day, I hope to God that gal next to you, she's obviously a pretty tough person to be in the military, first off, right? Mm-hmm. But thinking she could pull a 200-pound man 20 feet to get him out of fire after he's been shot or something, I would like to think that all of them can do that. There's a lot of things that you need that people don't take into consideration.
Sort of that goes. Not every role in the military is a combat soldier. Yes,
you're
right.
So you're right.
It's true. That's a good argument, and you're right. Now, if you had a whole combat unit of women, they don't have to pull a 200-pound man off there. So there you can cut that a lot of different ways. But I think the battlefields of the future will be fought differently than they were in the past.
Sure.
And I think there's skill sets that we need, and I think in order to increase the type of people who are coming in to make the military and service and route, we need to be as inclusive as possible.
All right. So Rick, do you have something on that, or do you want to jump to your topic? You get a pick.
Just quick. I agree with most of the points. the thing that when these stories like this come up, when things happen that are unprecedented, when they haven't happened, I try to think about what's the motivation for them happening now. Do you guys think it's just this trying to move up the ladder, be woke, say the right things, that kind of thing? Or is there pressure from other places? Is there external drivers to that? I mean, any quick thoughts on that at all?
Quick thought right off the I don't know if you're looking for my opinion or not, Rick, but quick off the cuff, shoot from the hip here. Tucker Carlson wants to drive up ratings, wants them to talk about. I think that's something that drives conservative people, like the military. That's a strong base of theirs. And to see that there's potential, maybe you lose some of that. There's more people in power, or they're changing their philosophies, and it's aligning more to what is viewed as left-leaning ideas. I think that's scary. You want to drive that out. You drive the base. I think we're constantly being manipulated. But like you said it, the entertainment news industry. I think that's exactly what's happened. It's all right. How can we whip up our base? So then the left's got to come back and, all right, we got to blow this out of the water. We got to up the ante now. And so we're going to bring out the head of the Marines to come out and talk this. We're going to say the battlefield of the future is going to be dominated by females. So it's just one upmanship after another. And at the end of the day, you're right. It's all crazy. Meanwhile, Casey listed it all out, all the things that the Chinese are doing. And just right now, tonight, we've got Vladimir Putin challenging Joe Biden to a debate because Joe Biden called him a killer. I don't think. You tell me if
he has more important things to do, Tyler. According to Jen Psaki, Biden's got more important things to do.
Like visit.
I don't know. I might pay to see that debate.
Hey, maybe we can raise some money to pay for the COVID bill.
Yeah, there we go. Think of the pay-per-view on that. Conor McGregor, eat your heart out.
All right. So next topic, we're going to start. I'm a little worried on this one. We are going to talk about Rick maybe not being with us in a few weeks after we talk about this subject.
This is Rick's last day on Earth.
Yep.
I thought you were nervous about saying philanthropic.
Well, I wasn't going to say it. I was going to philanthropic. Yes.
I'm waiting for the show to be turned off right about now.
Yeah. So Rick would like to talk the next few weeks and pick a different philanthropic
capitalist
to talk about. And he wanted to tackle one of the big ones right away. So if anybody'd like to put in the comments their favorite memory about Rick, go ahead and do that. And we will read them at the end of the show. But Rick, take it away on Bill Gates and what this man is all about. It ain't just Microsoft anymore.
So guys, seriously, I was writing down notes. I was kind of putting together some scripts, some outlines for this. I did it once. I realized I would be talking for like an hour and a half. So I tried to cut it down. I'm cutting it down. So we're going to go through this and we're going to gloss over some stuff. We're going to mention it, but I'm not going to a lot of detail. Bill Gates, we know who he is. Microsoft got dinged for antitrust, questionable business practices. That's how he led his company. He's now, as a effort to rehabilitate his image, he started a foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, where he's donating money to a wide variety of places. He's used this money to spearhead two large efforts, one in India, one in Africa, both colossal failures by all accounts. And he's taken these, but beyond that, he's taken these business practices that he used at Microsoft, these kind of shady, unethical things. He's taken those and that's how his foundation runs now. Just things like the places that are getting grants from the foundation, GlaxoSmithKline, Unilever, IBM, NBC Universal Media. Those are things that he's supporting. He's buying off these grants to the media. It's a tangled web. It's ridiculous. You sit through and look at these things and figure out what he's giving money to and who's actually benefiting from it. What charitable foundation is he giving money to, and who's in charge of that foundation? And then beyond that, his foundation, obviously it runs on an endowment. So the foundation invests lots of money into lots of companies. And he's also then giving grants to those companies. So his foundation is invested in, and then also providing funding for these companies. And this is Merrick, GlaxoSmithKline again, Vodafone, LG, Medtronic. The list goes on and on.
Question. Does he do they have to pay taxes on those?
So I was trying to do some research on that. There's some kind of iffy rules on that, and probably more than likely, a lot of these times the money's not going to that company itself, but maybe going to their charitable arm.
Okay.
And there's lots of things like going on too. Like I think there was some money that was, like MasterCard. But they were using their charitable arm to go into Africa to bring financial opportunities to under serviced areas.
So Rick,
Rick,
so that begs the question: what's wrong with that? Why is that a bad thing? Why is bringing money to underserved areas in Africa a bad thing?
Well, it's not bad on its surface, right? But you understand that MasterCards or whoever's, the reason that they're doing this and using this money that they've set aside that they haven't paid taxes on, not that these companies pay taxes on much anyway, but they're even less, is they're just doing it to benefit themselves by opening up these markets. Because it's the same with all these places when they go into these underserved areas. It seems like it's, hey, it's nice, we're helping people out, but we're helping ourselves out by opening up these markets and getting ourselves new customers, down the road. And they say that. I mean, they say that. One of the articles I read was about MasterCard, and they were concerned about the risk of going into this area, but we'll get this free tax deferred money from Bill Gates and we'll use that, and then our risk is gone, right? So, and then we have this nice graphic up here where we're talking about things where he's donating money to all these organizations for healthcare. And like I like to say, it's like, I don't know, there's a saying, right? Like you owe the bank $1,000, the bank owns you. You owe the bank $1 million, you own the bank. Same sort of thing here, right? Like if I was to give money to a foundation or donate to a charity, that's because I like what the charity's doing. I support them. When you start talking about the money that he's giving to these places, it's because now he has control over them. So you see this where he's the second largest donor to the World Health Organization, behind the United States. And just on and on. You go around and just look at the amount of money that he's giving.
That's staggering, Rick.
4.3
billion behind the U.S.
And he's playing this off as he's giving away his money, right? But look at what his net worth has done since he started this foundation. It's only gone up. He's, and I can give him the benefit of the doubt and say that maybe he does have pure intentions. Maybe he is just trying to help people out. I mean, I think you can argue that either way. But let's just for the sake of this, let's say he is doing these things for the right reasons. The amount of power that we're seceding to him as an unelected private citizen to throw his money around and gain control and influence in all these places.
Rick, are you saying that the World Health Organization didn't do a good job over the last couple of years, over the last year?
I'm not saying that, or I'm not saying they didn't do a good job.
I will, Rick.
Okay,
I will say
just,
that the World Health Organization, we just had a global pandemic in the year 2020 that bled into 2021. We've got more technology and obviously more money pumped into this deal than ever. And I think there's a lot of evidence that they might even lied to us and kept the coronavirus.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep the editorial to this to a minimum on my side as I'm presenting these facts, but I think I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I think the underlying thing here is just that we're giving away so much power and influence to somebody who's just we've allowed to accumulate this wealth and power and given ways to exercise this power, but still maintain his wealth. And I think that's the point that I think is whether he's doing good or bad or not. We've basically given him we're to the point where, in my mind, we're just hoping that he's benevolent, right? Like yes. That's what we're doing. So
Rick, am I reading your chart? So Bill Gates Foundation donated $4.3 billion to the World Health Organization.
Yeah.
He also gave $18 million to Dr. Fauci's organization.
Yeah.
He's also delivered money to help fund the companies that are creating the COVID-19 vaccine.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Oh. Like see, like the Oxford one too. That's an interesting story. Oxford was originally, when they were doing their vaccine, they were going to license it for free to whoever could produce it. Bill Gates, with the power of $243 million, convinced them to license it only to AstraZeneca. So then they became the only ones that can benefit from this, which seems like a weird thing to do, right? But he's obviously pushing his influence to then benefit himself and to benefit his other people in his web of influence that he is taking care of, right?
Okay. And then you see the CDC on there. That's one that bothers me, the CDC, right? I mean, aren't they the ones that are coming out for guidelines for us and all this stuff? And he gave why is a public health, isn't the CDC government paid for, government owned? Or am I wrong on that?
They are.
Why are they taking $155 million from one entity then?
They take donations.
All right. I won't say anymore. I like my life.
Fauci, the CDC, the World Health Organization, and some of the companies responsible for COVID vaccinations are all intertwined.
Yep. And an interesting thing here too, right, is I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but that Gavia, that one that he's given $3 billion to, they are very high on the list of donors to the World Health Organization as well. So it's staggering when you start thinking about this, it's just flabbergasted that it's that some of the stuff that they do is legal, right? Like but I think we're to the point where we kind of know that these people are using their influence and the laws are getting written in their favor, and these people are just trying to hold on to their power or expand their influence, and that's the results we're getting.
He's absolutely profiting from it. I mean, like you said, he's not losing money. It doesn't matter how many billions are given away. So, wow, this is a great picture, Rick.
Yeah, none of us had seen this picture, full disclaimer, before this, so we're kind of all taken aback by it, like everybody else watching at home.
And hey, and I'll be honest, you have to dig on this. This is not, you're not reading these types of things on CNN, on the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal. I mean, you're NBC, well, because he's obviously paid them off as well as other companies, but you're digging down, but the people that are doing the reporting, I followed up. I mean, I read these articles and I they do a very good job of annotating and listing their sources, and a lot of it goes right back to the Gates Foundation, right? I mean, it's their information. It's just somebody doing the legwork to unravel the web that's there. So,
so he's paying government entities. This is a lot like the Clinton Foundation, is what it looks like, probably on a little bit larger scale. Wow, shocking.
Oh, he gives money to the Clinton Foundation too. That's one of his places he gives money to. So,
convenient.
Yeah, just government entities. I mean, how can we never worry about conspiracy theories? How can we trust stuff if he is so much money to the WHO and the CDC at the same time, and all these different vaccine places? And if you don't think there's greed there, you don't think that it's human nature to be greedy and powerful and want to do, have more power, more influence. Like you said, we're just hoping he's doing the right thing and calling the right shots. But you got to remember, this is a failed computer programmer that got, although I won't say lucky, but right place, right time. Had some good ideas and all that stuff. But man,
and this isn't
Ruthless competitor,
and this isn't even talking about his involvement in the ag industry either, which is just as far reaching as it is with in the medical stuff. With not only is he now the largest single owner of farmland in the United States, but he's a big proponent of GMOs and fertilization. And you can read about what he's done in India. There's a lot of people upset about how he's they go in there and say they're going to fix everything, and it really just pushes out and makes it impossible for the small time farmers that were there to do anything, and it actually sets them back because they're trying to do things that don't work in those places. And his Monsanto and all the friends and the seed bank, the Doomsday Seed Bank, and his funding for that, and how they're not only just storing seeds, but they're researching them and patenting the seeds just because they're the ones that decoded the genes. It's
Rick, do you mean to tell me that an individual who is really big into climate change is also donates money to GMO research? And not anti-GMO, but to manipulate manipulate seeds?
Well, yeah, right. So he's one of the big GMOs, right? Is there's a lot of talk about some of the cotton and stuff too, but one of the big ones are the soybeans. And we have the Impossible burger, right? The meat for that's soy based. Major investor in soy based meat replacement stuff, right? So yeah, I mean, it's not hard to draw these lines. And the fun thing about it to me is that, well, not fun, but he's not even, this isn't even like cloak and dagger stuff, right? Like, this isn't like stuff that you need to know somebody to figure out. It's all just there.
Yeah. One initial reaction for me, just looking at 4.3 billion to the World Health Organization, I think we all know that there's I think it's fair to call it a crisis in this country for homeless vets. Think what $4.3 billion can do for that. We also have food shortages for underprivileged children. $4.3 billion. That changes a lot of people's lives. Hopefully, the World Health Organization is using that money wisely. But if we're looking to give money away, I just feel like there's lots of really, really good causes that can help a lot of people, not only right here in the U.S. but globally as well. Not 100% sure that a large multinational company organization is the best place for that money, but it's just my opinion as one fat dad.
And as we talk about more of these tech giants who are now turning to and now I got Johnson's. But as they turn to it, I mean, there's stats about how much they are not paying taxes on this, and that and I think we're pretty across the board here about our distaste for taxes in general. But that is money that is not going into our coffers that we absolutely have no say in, right? You can argue about whether we have a lot of say in what goes on in Washington anyway, but the money that we don't collect from these people, we have absolutely zero say on what they do with it. And like you said, there's lots of worthy endeavors for problems right here at home that we can fix without shipping money off to some of these large institutions.
All right. We'll give the last word on this topic to Mr. Casey Devers. He's sitting there. I don't know if he's so ticked off or what on this, but we'll give him the last word since he's had the least amount of words on it.
I am stunned and shocked. A lot of this stuff I did not know. I know Bill Gates is not an ethical man. His foundation is a fraud, just like most extremely large foundations. This image right now pretty much says everything. So I am not surprised, but I'm shocked at how vast it is, and you're just talking about the vaccine and the World Health Organization. Rick, you're not even talking about, like you said, agriculture. There's so many other things that his money very diverse. His money is very diversified. And is it good for America? That's what I'm trying to digest right now. Is this good for America? And my initial thought is no, because it's not putting Americans first. It's lining his pockets to do more of this. Immunity is essentially what it is for maybe what I would consider in some cases unethical things. So,
yeah. All right.
Well, hot take of the night.
Yeah.
Fat Dad Iowa hates Xbox.
Don't even own one.
Well, we will try to lighten the mood up a little bit. It's time for our weekly Fat Dads Cancel Culture in Memoriam.
Dun, dun, dun. Who died, dude?
Who died, John? I'm excited. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Here now, I can't find the slideshow button. All right, here we go.
I still see you, John.
You guys see the slides?
No.
You don't see the slides? Well, this is terrible then.
It's like a bad conference
John,
call.
it's not even a bit anymore. You're just the worst tech advisor I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I forgot to hit the share button. It's very important. Very important. Fat Dads Cancel Culture in Memoriam. Who and what we've lost since our last show.
Oh,
Pepe Le Pew. That cat-loving skunk, he is no more. He forced himself on many a women.
John, now in retrospect, I'm a little bit nervous for my sons because did they force a hug on your daughters?
Oh, I never thought about that. Well, we might get a picture and have them up next week.
Yeah, dang, the Leighton boys canceled.
Look at that terrible person. Speedy Gonzalez.
not him.
Gone too soon. Gone too soon.
Look him.
Did the voice? That's Enrique, right? Not Enrique. Not Enrique. What's his name? The comedian.
This is your bit, John.
I can't even think of it. I know. I've been drinking, so I forgot about it. He, Spanish speaking himself, Hispanic, tried to stick up for him, saying that stuck up for his voice that he did for Speedy Gonzalez, and nobody cared. So he's gone. We have Mrs. McMahon. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Anybody hear about this one?
No.
I did not.
Just take over the editor of Teen Vogue. And only about a week in, nobody wanted to work for her because she said those things way back in when she was, I believe, 18 or 19. And you can see those comments, what she said about Asians way back then. So one of their own, taken out by their own. And Chris Harrison, we can't get rid of this guy, or actually we can.
We keep canceling him?
They keep canceling him. He wasn't on the finale, and it sounds like he will not be on the show next year, all for sticking up for somebody that was being canceled, I believe. So Chris
Not
Harrison.
really. He just
No,
said that maybe he just asked if grace should be given.
Yes.
He didn't even really defend.
Yep.
Just asked if we should give grace.
Too much, guys. Too much. Not allowed anymore.
Not at ABC. How dare he?
But
Well,
I'd
John,
like to
I
end
think
with
your private
something-
pictures have
that is-
somehow leaked into our podcast.
Yes, something that is not being canceled. If anybody heard about the Grammys this week, we can cancel Speedy Gonzalez, but we can let this stuff happen on network TV. So I'd like to end the bit with what is not being canceled. So Cardi B, whatever you got to do up there on stage, you're fine. So sorry, my bad. That was not actually canceled. That was just fine in our culture.
Applauded.
And that's how I'd like to end it.
So I want to ask a question. Obviously, we've hashed this through. I'm a boy dad. You guys are girl dads. It was at the Grammys. Let's talk about it. I think it's an interesting thing to have, 4 fat white guys talk about. But we have an interesting.
Are we qualified? Are we qualified?
Probably
Gotta ask
not.
somebody.
I don't think so.
Gotta ask somebody. Just point me in the right direction.
What do you get? What is that women's empowerment? Is that what you guys are hoping for your daughters, that they can go perform and on TV? Is this a good thing?
This is.
I think I was shutting that off with my younger kids, with my younger sons. Like, oh, nope, we got to turn that channel. But
Yeah, no, it's there's always
you gathering your daughters around saying, hey, look what you could be. The future's wide open.
right. No, I obviously we know there's stuff out there. There's stuff you can go and get, and it's easy to get. But the fact of what we've allowed things to become on and what platforms we've been able to allow this stuff on is disgusting. Just flat out disgusting. If you want to talk about culture taking over and why we have some of the problems that we have, you can look at something like this and say, and I know porn's been around forever, and it's easy to find and all that stuff, but there has to be boundaries. There has to be boundaries. That was CBS. That's over the air. Anybody can get it. I believe, I can't remember the rating they had on that. GPG, what would that be rated in a film? Would that be an R film? PG-13? That's all I can say about that. So yeah, I absolutely don't want my daughter seeing something like that and thinking that is mainstream culture, and that's okay.
Go ahead, Rick. I'll let you go.
I said I agree with John. I mean, I'm not going to question those ladies' choices on how they want to make money and how they want to do things. That's fine, whatever. That doesn't mean I need to see it. Doesn't mean I want my daughters to see it. Mean I want my daughters to do it. And it's one of those things that's this is a slippery slope, right? Like how they always have to do something a little more shocking, and it's been building to this, and that's where we're at.
Sure. I think the Grammys is well known, since Madonna, at least, for being maybe a little provocative. Is this something that it should be celebrated, Tyler? Is this something that should be lifted up and said, hey, this is empowering? Maybe. I mean, you look at where Cardi's story came from, and maybe Megan Thee Stallion, what her backstory is. I don't know that stuff. It's empowering. I think for some, it's empowering to say, hey, these people lifted themselves out of bad situations, and now they are filthy rich and can do whatever they want without repercussions. There might be something to that. It being provocative and in my eyes, pretty distasteful. But that's my opinion. I don't think it's empowering. I don't think that would empower my daughter. But that's just me, right? And everybody can judge it on its own merits. there's a lot of hypocrisy going on that we cancel cartoons that have been on for 70 plus years, but we find two women who are barely clothed pretty much performing sexual acts on stage, and that's okay, So the hypocrisy of the whole thing is what upsets me probably the most. Do not want my daughter to ever do that. Would I be ashamed? Yeah. Would I still love her? Yes. That would be a conversation for her and I to have on bad decisions that probably will happen eventually. So, and I'm not looking forward to those times, but I will always be supportive, and I hope that we as society can say, hey, is this truly empowering? Is this 30 seconds of what they were doing? Is that really what we want our feminist movement to be about? Not about rights and wages and all the other stuff that they talk about. It's, hey, can I wear skimpy clothes on stage, dance in front of millions of people, do things provocatively, and get paid big bucks for it? So I think that's the argument to be had.
I'll weigh in. As the opening to our show says, we give opinions that really nobody asked for or cares to hear. But I just, to talk about empowerment. Obviously, I don't have a daughter, but I do have boys, and I can't imagine right now today. I don't see myself gathering my three boys and I gathering around the TV and saying, "Boys, let's watch this movie. We're going to throw on Magic Mike, and I'm going to show you about men's empowerment and what it is to be a man in the world." So look what this is. You could do this. That's just not the hero. That's not the heroes that I want for them. I think it's weird. I think it's odd that, again, we have all these discussions on race and gender and equality happening in the world, but then like our culture and our entertainment seems to be so counterintuitive, just counter to everything we talk about and everything that we virtual signal out. And then our actions are just in contrast to that. It boggles my mind that is what is lifted up as greatness and as art. I saw it online. I saw the lyrics to this song being portrayed to Shakespeare. That this is a great poet. I like to think we could do better. No offense to these women, they're both very successful recording artists. Obviously, there's a market for it. I just don't feel like that should be the pinnacle of greatness for anybody, regardless of your gender. I think we can do better than that.
And we see all these people that have, sexual harassment cases and all this stuff against them and objectifying women, and then you see something like this. Who is this for? Who is this targeting? Why are you doing this? Ty, you made an interesting point about Magic Mike. We don't take our boys as that standard, our men. So why do we let the women have this as a standard? This is being celebrated, but Magic Mike is kind of made fun of, or, no guy would ever, it's completely backwards. In the culture part of it, in society, it's just that slope that they want us to take and keep on eating it away, keep on eroding it, doing all that. We had a very, very lengthy text conversation last night about things in the Bible and how we think that portrays stuff. And man, what an in-depth, awesome conversation that we had last night talking about that. Why can't we talk about more stuff like that instead of this kind of stuff? Stuff that
moral fiber
really makes a difference.
Yeah, I just think our heroes, our folk heroes, especially when we talk like female, whether they're female, transgender, whatever, but they're better options. There are better options out there, and I think as a whole, as a society, we have a fetish for celebrity. I think we saw it with the prince, or the former prince, the former artist formerly known as Prince Harry, and Meghan Markle and their Oprah interview, and now even as Americans, we're all concerned about the royal family in England. And I don't know. We just our focus is so weird. We shared an article or a recording from Bill Maher earlier, I think last week. Where Bill, I think everybody knows him. He's a pretty staunch Democrat, liberal thought leader, and I think he was spot on. He called America kind of a land of silly people with weird focuses. He compared us to Chinese and the Chinese culture, how they're out building cities. Hell, they literally build island military bases. They took over the South China Sea by creating islands and military bases. And we're here fighting over Dr. Seuss and Pepe Le Pew and arguing about the proper uniform for a pregnant woman.
Okay,
he's right. We're a silly people. We're a silly
John,
people.
I have never seen Magic Mike. Can I borrow your copy?
No. I was going to say last word to you, but yeah, you can.
Okay.
Katie's got 2 copies.
I'll bring it over tomorrow. You want the DVD, Blu-ray? What do you want?
Blu-ray.
All right.
Need that definition.
Yeah. No, Rick, last words to you on that. We've already gone way over time, but it's been really good conversation tonight. So Rick, last word on the cancel culture and Cardi B, or anything you'd like to say about that stuff? Or you want to pass?
I have too much to say. I think I'll just keep it to myself this time. Otherwise, we'll be here for another half hour.
Okay. All right. So in that vein, we've already gone over quite a bit, but we always like to end the show on a little state politics. And we usually talk about the South Dakota politics, but we'd like to throw it to Mr. Phat Iowa, Phat Dad, Casey Deaver, for give us your 2-minute Cliff Notes version.
2 minutes. 2 minutes Cliff Notes. Here we go, guys. So what's happened is in Southeast District, right? Southeast District in Iowa, there was a congressional seat that was open, and 2 ladies, very vicious fight, right? Was decided by 6 votes. 6. Right now, the DNC has petitioned to the national DNC to allow 22 additional votes to be counted after first a vote, then a recount, then a second recount, right? In the state of Iowa, everything's been finalized. The Congress lady who won by 6 votes is Republican. She's already serving, doing her thing. And now Nancy Pelosi thinks she can tell Iowa how to run our elections. And tell you what, Nancy Pelosi, show up in our state, get a nice warm welcome from all of us because we went red. We went so red, it's unreal. There's only 1 congressional seat that stayed blue, and that's in Des Moines. Local level, everything went red. It was a beatdown. The next day after the election, Democrats came on TV, on radio shows, and said, we need to reevaluate what we're doing and what we're saying in our messaging to Iowans. So that's what's happened is now the federal Congress people, Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, are now trying to overthrow a vote count in the state of Iowa to get their person elected.
Any comments from Tyler or Rick?
I assume all 22 of those votes are Democratic votes.
Oh God! How could...
I mean, they're not fighting for every vote, right? They're just their votes,
right? Just their
weird.
Votes.
Yeah, weird, strange. Okay, just so we're clear.
The left has no bounds here, guys. That's what I'm saying. Anything for power, anything for more power, and the right's just as guilty too, right? It happens. This is ridiculous that you're coming into a state with 1.5 million people or whatever population Iowa is now, and you're trying to tell us how to run our election process. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
We've talked about this before. I think regardless of where you come down on the political sphere of influence, having DC come in and try to pick the outcome of an election in a state is wrong. It's wrong.
All right, folks, great show tonight. Really enjoyed all the topics. We'll go around the circle and give everybody the last 15 seconds, last word of the night. what they like about tonight. What do they feel? What's coming up? Rick, we'll go to you first.
Thanks for listening to me about Bill Gates. Fascinating topic. I found it very interesting. Like I said, dig into it. Go deep. Good articles, good reporting.
Deep,
You have to look for it.
Rick, should maybe they could put in the comments who you covering next? We talked about the Clinton Foundation. We've got Zuckerberg. I mean, there's a lot of these people that's got to fall in the same vein.
Yeah, we can, put some
put it all in
comments
the
out
comments.
there.
Yeah.
And see who you want me to talk about. There's endless numbers. So let me know, and I will dig in.
I'm sure the show's producer, I'll make that happen, and it'll be out there, tomorrow with some kind of crazy poll and all that stuff. Casey, let's go to you next.
Something you go to Tyler. I really don't have anything else to say on politics. The filibuster. Okay, quickly. The filibuster thing that Tyler did not let me talk about. Just look back to 2016 with Chuck Schumer and Elizabeth Warren and all the Democrats were saying then. And then lastly, I am dieting right now. I've not had a pop in 4 days. I am a little agitated. It is hard for me. I still have caffeine in the form of coffee and or tea. And I have cut out some carbohydrate intake. I'm mainly fast food. And I'm pretty miserable right now. So hopefully next time you see me, I'll look 5 pounds lighter in the face. That's my goal. So
those are not easy transitions.
No.
All right, Tyler, what's it to you?
I don't believe in diets. I think they're made up. So talk to you in that, I guess. But I don't believe in them. Great show tonight, fellas. Great dialogue, great back and forth. John, I think is interesting that the piece on culture in this country. I think we really need to take a hard look at it ourselves as a nation.
Yep. Yeah. No, I think that the culture, I'm getting more and more involved with the church stuff, and, less and less people are getting involved in the church stuff. And that culture we have just wants to drive us away from the religion fact of it. And that's sad to me. And like I said, if you can believe in a God, not a God, there's also cultures and values there, beliefs and how we should be and morally and all that stuff. So no, great show tonight. Really enjoyed it. Promise to do better next time. I will get that poll out there. We're going to get some new video stuff. Tyler, love the bit. Thought the chewing the fat was great. And thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We really enjoy this every week. Got anything in the comments that you think could make it better or stuff you want to talk about? Shoot me a note. Put it in the comments on YouTube, Facebook. You got it. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.